Get out your paper strips and some skinny washi. We're going to be working some great patterns and one-layer cards for this Sketch Starters with Nicole. For this first take, I'm going to be using washi tape straight on to my card base. Now I'm using the Altenew palette, and it's really nice because it has all sorts of great colors, but it has these little blocks that will help me to align the tape onto my card base. So to prep my card base, I have a line down the center and then a line about an inch above and an inch below. And then I also put a center line in, so that way when I put my first strips of washi tape on here, I know that they're square. So the first piece I'm going to put on is going to go right up against that line, and I'm going to line up one of these little center lines like so. And I'm going to try to make sure that I have the same amount extending top and bottom. Right, so that's my first piece. Now the rest of it I'm going to work coming towards me, and then I'll flip it over and work going again towards me once it's flipped. So I want to alternate how my washi tape lines up. It's always going to butt up against each other, but I want to make sure that I'm tearing my strips about the same distance from the top and the bottom. That's going to help give this a nice even look. And it'll really help you to get a professional looking finish when you're done with this. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with this. You guys can watch while I'm doing it. Done, I'm just going to take my eraser and grab those little lines that are still showing through. There we go. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and give this all a really good press to help really seal that washi tape onto the card base. This is definitely something that's worth doing, so that way all of the tape really gets good contact with your paper and really has a chance to stick well. Alright, so there we go. The card base is complete. Really, all we need to do is add a sentiment now. Alright, I have the sentiment strips 2 stamp set, and I've picked out the sentiment I'm going to do. It says, "I just adore you." And when I put these onto blocks, I like to just make sure that it lays down flat and natural, and then I pick it up with my block. Just like so. That way it's not stretched out and it is pretty square. If I need to, I can always use the lines on my block here to get it lined up a little better. But I'm just going to take some obsidian black and stamp it on a little strip here. There we go. And now I just need to attach it to my card base. So I'm going to just snip this off. Like so, and add some adhesive on the back. And I'm going to pop this right down that center line, like so. There we go. That's just going to take a second or two extra to dry because it is on the washi tape. And while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to add in some red Cosmos dots, and I'm going to pick out one of these bright red ones. Just kind of pop it off the end here. And then I'm going to pick out, I think one of the next ones down here and do the same. There we go. So our first card is done, and it is looking adorable. For our second card, I have another card base worked up. This time I have a center marked, and then I have 3 lines towards the bottom here, and that's to help me align these little strips. Now all of these little strips came from the red Cosmos Gradient cardstock pack, and I just cut them into 1/4 inch pieces, so they are the full length, so that's the 3 inches wide and then just a 1/4 inch. So I've got all these little pieces all worked up and ready to go, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue them right onto the card base. So I'm going to start by putting one right dead smack in the center, just like we did with the washi tape. And I'm going to use these lines to help guide me. So I kind of preset this where this middle line ends up being 1.5 inches from that center line. And that's going to be my starting point. So once that is nice and square in place, and that looks pretty good, I'll go ahead and be able to move left to right, and I'm going to alternate my colors kind of as you see them here. So I've got the grapevine, and then I go into the light pink color, and then I'll cycle back to the medium and then the red. So on each one of these, I'm going to stagger them to give it some added interest instead of just having it straight on. And I wasn't sure if I wanted them to go up and down 1/4 inch or not, so I think I'm going to do a little less than that so that I don't have such a big stagger, and I'm going to do just about half of that. So I've got one that extends down a little bit, and then the next one will come back to the center line, and it's going to butt right up against it. And then my next strip will go above that 1/8 inch instead of the 1/4. And then I'll be back to my original color back on that center line. So that's how I'm going to continue staggering these down and then up to the top. My background is again complete, and I'm going to hit this again with my eraser. And if you've done your line light enough, this will come right up, so you shouldn't have to worry about any kind of stray marks at all. There we go. And now I need to add a sentiment and maybe a few little embellishments. So I'm going to go back into my sentiment strips too, and I'm going to grab a couple of different sentiments this time and stamp them out on some more strips, and we'll add them to our card base. So now I have all of my sentiments done, and I can just do a little bit of snipping and we'll be able to get these right onto the card. So I'll start with the hello there. I'll pop that somewhere around there. Now I know these are supposed to be 1-layer cards. I think they really qualify because it is flat. I'm not adding any extra dimension to these, and I've used mostly the card base on my design. So I'm going to grab that 4 and just lob that right off. So now I have a completely different sentiment. It says my fabulous friend, which I think is awesome. So it'll say, hello there, my fabulous friend. Have a super day. All right, so just get those nice and lined up. I like the way that this looks crisscrossing the stripes in the background. It really does kind of bring everything together as far as the design is concerned. So that one and the second one, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of space in between each one, and then I'm going to make sure that they're centered off of each other. Like so. That way you can see a little bit of that color in between, and it really adds like this level of crispness to the design. And one more, again centered with a little bit of spacing in between. Beautiful. All right, so let's add in a few of our lovely enamel dots. Of course, these are coordinating because we've used the red Cosmos paper, so I've got the red Cosmos dots, and this time I'm going to go monochrome and just use all the red ones. Now I don't mind that I've got a red dot on top of the red cardstock because it looks different. You can really tell the difference between the two. All right, and then the third one I'm going to pop kind of down here in the corner, like so. And there we go. We've got 2 cards interpreting this really fun sketch that will allow you to use some of your thin washi or a whole bunch of those paper strips that you might have sitting in your craft stash. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I really hope you enjoyed these projects and the sketch. Don't forget, if you use the sketch, tag Altenew LLC and Pixel Mavens Retreat, and we would love to share your projects out on social media. I'll be back soon with another sketch starter, but until next time, happy crafting.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!